Shuya Marionette, the most popular anime this year with a fantasy world theme featuring a magic school, warfare, and many beautiful girls. A protagonist who has talent in magic, handsome and popular with all the heroines, making a young man who is watching the series feel very envious. He even imagines if he could be reborn as Shuya. However, the next day, the young man mumbles inside the blanket with consciousness that is not yet fully awake. As he peeks from behind the blanket, he doesn't recognize the room he's in and feels that it's not his room. He pinches his cheek and tries to remember that last night he was sure he was watching anime and then fell asleep. As he looks in the mirror, sweat pours from every inch of his body. The young man slams the dressing table because he doesn't recognize the person in the mirror's reflection and realizes that it's not his face. He himself doesn't know what happened. However, after looking around while touching his chubby cheeks, he begins to realize he's seen this face before. Large eyes with a disgusting gaze usually used to glance at girls, his round body showing gluttony with skin color like an orc. This is one of the characters from Shuya Marionette, namely Slow Denning, the Pig Duke. He screams like a possessed person because he can't believe he's turned into Slow Denning, with the possibility that this is what is called being transported to another world. Even though it's true, the young man slams the table again because he still can't accept turning into the Pig Duke. Slow Denning is a figure hated by everyone. According to him, it's more normal if he became the protagonist. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, making his gaze shift to the door. Then a girl's voice greets to make sure that Slow is awake. The young man recognizes this voice, so he agrees and tells the person behind the door to come in. The girl, named Charlotte, who is Slow's personal attendant in the anime, immediately greets as she enters the room while bringing breakfast. The young man becomes more convinced that he is Slow, so he immediately asks about what kind of person Slow Denning is. Charlotte looks puzzled because she's suddenly asked such a question. Slow makes an excuse that he just wants to know about his own evaluation. Charlotte begins to reveal that the chubby young man is the third child of Duke Denning, who is a member of the nobility that provides great support to the country of Daris. He also has great influence at the Kurushu Magic Academy. Someone who, according to other students, is hard to approach because he boasts about his family name, has weird hair, likes to belittle others, smells bad, is fat like an orc, and so on. After calming down, the young man begins to remember that Slow's character in the anime is indeed like that. Charlotte doesn't understand what happened, but she begs Slow to have breakfast first. The young man obeys her and begins to feel that this isn't as bad as he thought. Even though here everyone hates the Pig Duke, but he is very popular among anime fans, even more than the protagonist. If he really becomes that anime character, it means the continuation of the setting can already be predicted. As he sits down in the chair, an apron is immediately put around Slow's neck. Charlotte reminds him that the soup is still hot, so she asks him to let it cool first. The young man says thank you, making Charlotte, who is holding the teapot, lose focus, until the teapot ends up slipping and breaking into pieces. Charlotte immediately panics and apologizes while prostrating herself on the floor. She admits she was shocked to hear the thank you from Slow and promises to clean up the teapot shards right away. Slow himself tells her not to worry. He then moves a small wand to create a small swirling wind, or called wind dance, to blow away the teapot shards. Charlotte is amazed to see it. The first reason fans like the Pig Duke is because he is a genius magician behind his appearance like that. And also Slow is very liked by the spirits, which are also the source of power for magic itself. The young man asks Charlotte to get a cloth to wrap the teapot shards, making her quickly get up. After the girl ties the cloth, she immediately thanks him stammeringly. Once again, Slow tells her not to worry and asks her to be careful because there might still be shards there. Charlotte agrees, but not only forgiving her mistake, even Slow helps tidy it up. His behavior today is considered a bit strange. That fact makes Slow feel pricked. The young man then confirms it. Until now, what Slow has done is nothing but being an evil pig. Of course, what he just did would look suspicious. Finally, he informs Charlotte of his decision. The sight of Slow doing morning runs becomes the gaze of people. They are even surprised because it's the first time seeing him run. Slow himself doesn't care about their disgusted stares. He focuses on regulating his breath and keeps stepping. They remind each other not to stare at him too long. After all, the young man is known as the son of Duke Denning. The second reason fans like this Pig Duke is because of Charlotte's background story and the subplot about Slow in the anime itself. Charlotte is actually the princess of a fallen kingdom. She met Slow when she was still a child and was about to be sold as a slave. Then Slow made the girl his personal attendant. However, there are still many people targeting Charlotte's life. So, Slow decides to use his magic to continue protecting Charlotte, fighting alone, day and night secretly behind the scenes, so that Charlotte's life remains protected. However, in the anime, the interaction between Charlotte and the protagonist, Shuya Nukurin, gradually gets closer, until Charlotte's feelings start to turn away from the Pig Duke. Until finally, there is an incident where the protagonist successfully saves Charlotte's life in front of Slow. And then, the girl joins the protagonist's harem. Slow never gets the chance to express his feelings, struggling alone just to let the protagonist take all the good things, while he becomes the antagonist. Being someone like that is the reason why fans really like him. But Slow keeps pushing his steps because he doesn't know the core reason why the Pig Duke character does all this. What he knows is that Slow's reason for becoming an evil pig is only to be able to live together with Charlotte. As a candidate to succeed the family head, there's no way Slow can marry an ordinary personal attendant. Therefore, he pretends to be an idiot to be hated and eventually expelled from his family. He can't accept if all the things he strives for have no results at all. Now, if Slow continues to follow the plot in the anime, it means there won't be any ending other than a bad end that will befall him. If so, he is determined to change that future and start by losing weight. Slow will also do everything to improve his appearance. His footsteps get faster with the determination to do everything to live happily with Charlotte. The news about Slow starting to run every morning becomes a hot topic at school. They mock him and say that maybe there will be pig rain tomorrow. Another strange behavior that makes him the center of attention is also because Slow is already in the cafeteria this early, making other students keep staring at him in disbelief. They know that Slow usually always has food brought by his servant to his room. The cafeteria waiter who brings the tray is also shocked and greets him stammeringly when bringing his breakfast. Slow thanks him and asks for his food to be placed on the table. After that, the waiter immediately bows and excuses himself. The girls whisper to each other about the possibility that Charlotte has done something to him. Slow eats uncomfortably, because even the servants are afraid of him. However, the somewhat bland taste of the food distracts him. He then looks around, seeing other people's breakfast portions, because his portion is very small. Slow himself is not sure other students are really satisfied with portions like this. Being so busy observing around, he doesn't realize his food is already finished. Who knows what his eating habits are like? Suddenly someone comes offering his food. He claims he doesn't mind giving his breakfast portion to Slow. The young man also doesn't recognize him. Vision Greytrode, son of Viscount Greytrode, smiles and apologizes for his impoliteness. After introducing his name, he also claims to be pleased to meet Slow. The young man feels he can't remember the figure of the Viscount Greytrode's son, who is only a background character. Slow then confirms that Vision approached him just to offer food. Vision confirms. He also claims to have seen Slow running this morning, and thinks maybe one portion of food is not enough. He asks Slow to relax and not think about it, then says enjoy. Slow glances at Vision out of the corner of his eye. He doesn't know what's with this person, and suspects he's just trying to butter up. His stomach growls again, making him confirm that he's still not full. If so, he accepts it and says he'll taste it since it's been brought here. However, after thinking about it, Slow can't accept it. He has decided to lose weight, but easily falls into the trap. Who knows what he was thinking just now? Slow asks permission to praise Vision's initiative, but he claims that right now he's full and tries to convince him while pointing at Vision's face. Therefore, he apologizes for not being able to accept his food. His grumbling action makes the chair keep shifting, until finally it breaks and his body falls down. Of course, that sight becomes the laughingstock of everyone in the cafeteria. Those who were initially curious about the commotion don't try to hide their laughter and mock once they see it. About the Pig Duke who broke the chair, making other students curious about how fat that person is. Slow can only glance at them out of the corner of his eye while getting up. Vision still has time to make sure that Slow really doesn't want his breakfast portion. The chubby young man still rejects it outright. He pulls Vision's shirt collar and wants the Viscount Greytrode's son to listen carefully. Slow doesn't want Vision to be fooled by his appearance. Even though his body looks round, but his appetite is not big. He then asks Vision to repeat his words and praises him once his order is obeyed. Aruru-sensei explains from the front of the class that, as everyone knows, being liked by the spirits is the most important thing when using magic. According to the latest research, water spirits like kind people, while wind spirits prefer smart people. Slow pays attention carefully. He realizes his old self would definitely say that this teacher fantasizes too much. But still, even though it's Aruru-sensei teaching, for a student, attending class is still boring in whatever world they are in. In the end, even though it's already basic knowledge that spirits prefer people born from noble descent, many from commoner backgrounds have graduated and are able to use magic. So, Aruru-sensei reminds them not to forget to keep studying and practicing every day, regardless of social status. With that, today's magic class ends. The students then pair up and leave the class. Meanwhile, Slow is left alone. He feels indeed no one wants to walk with him. Even though he already knows, but it still feels annoying. From behind, Aruru-sensei greets and asks for a moment of his time. The woman appreciates that today Slow behaved well in class. Usually, if not playing around, the young man would spend time in class sleeping, and Aruru-sensei also claims to have heard that Slow has started dieting. Slow makes an excuse that taking care of one's own body is a good thing. He just thinks there are some things that need to be changed. He then says goodbye, but before really leaving, something moves. He then asks Aruru-sensei not to move. The woman is scared seeing Slow starting to approach with a sharp gaze and tries to ask about what happened. As he successfully takes something from around her, he then says goodbye again and really leaves. After far enough, Slow then releases a small winged creature and asks it not to cause trouble for Sensei. That wind spirit probably just wants to prank his teacher. Even though it can be said that this is a fantasy world, if he honestly says that he can see spirits, then probably he will be kidnapped even if he's at the academy. Slow then walks in the hallway to go to the next class, and it seems to be the self-defense class, without realizing that someone is spying from behind him. Charlotte praises Slow after peeking from the window. Not only staying awake, but the chubby young man also follows the class and even answers questions from Sensei. She then pinches her cheek because she feels like she's dreaming, but the pain is real. The girl also remembers when suddenly Slow said his plan to start dieting and really did it. Charlotte sits and leans her back against the wall while writing everything in her notebook. The thought arises about the possibility that Slow ate something spoiled. But she can't hold back the shock of finding the possibility that Slow really wants to be a good person, and it's her duty as a personal attendant to support the young man's good intentions. Plus, if Slow becomes a respected person, then her reputation will also rise and maybe her salary will also increase. Charlotte then determines to do her best. She is also sure Slow can definitely do it. The chubby young man keeps walking down the corridor. He remembers that the Pig Duke is smart, strong, kind, and also able to withstand his bad fate. Those are the words from the anime director about the Duke in an event. It's true that he is able to protect Charlotte alone, but even though he has power, he doesn't have luck. Where he always faces bad things, for example war, his appearance, and so on, until finally Slow meets his end. But now, when he is reincarnated as the Pig Duke, he will make use of everything that has been given to him. His secret weapon is knowledge about what will happen later. He swears to protect his future and Charlotte as best as possible. His attention is distracted by two birds flying past him. He then determines to say about his feelings to Charlotte. In the forest, a girl seems insistent on chanting the word magic until her body is exhausted and bows down weakly. She wonders if it's true that only someone who is a noble descendant can attract those spirits. So no matter how hard she studies, it won't be useful because she comes from commoner descent. She then grips her small wand angrily because she feels like she's being toyed with. Charlotte follows Slow steps with full curiosity because the chubby young man looks very cheerful this morning. The students they pass also focus their attention on him. Slow is very happy because today is the magic training class. Charlotte then laughs because Slow is so cheerful only when entering the magic training class. The young man claims he can't miss this opportunity, and actually, he has something special for this magic training class. Because no one in this school can use magic as well as him. In other words, Slow is the best. He is sure they will all be shocked and start seeing him as a cool person. However, Charlotte doubts whether there is a student who would be his training partner. That question really stabs Slow's heart. The magic ability training teacher, Rokomoko, calls the students with the term fragile creatures to gather because he will explain today's material. The man with dreadlocks and a tall muscular body is a former elite knight of the kingdom, even though his appearance is a bit dubious. Slow also realizes his appearance is dubious. Rokomoko asks the students to pair up and find flaws in their partner's magic. After that, they are also asked to make a report. He then asks them to move quickly, if they already understand, while clapping his hands. The students start rushing to take their respective partners, leaving Slow, who is indeed avoided. The young man understands. He is the most hated person in school. Now, everyone has got a partner. Slow starts walking around while thinking about what to do, or if there is still someone he can ask to pair up with. Slow's gaze falls on Tina. In his world, he crossed out the girl's name from the protagonist's harem list. Not because she comes from commoner background, but because of her bad habit, namely doing pranks and distributing erotic magazines. Because of that habit too, Tina is known as the Demon Queen. Tina looks like an elegant girl at first sight, but behind the jacket she wears, there is a pair of cannonballs that Slow covets, and seeing them directly is really unbelievable. Tina finally turns back, making Slow surprised. She then asks him, because since earlier the young man kept looking at her. Slow can't deny, until then Tina guesses that the chubby young man is looking for a partner. Once again, Slow confirms her guess. Slow makes an excuse that he saw Tina having difficulty. The girl is a new academic year student, so he asks for her opinion if he gives some advice. Of course, Tina welcomes it enthusiastically. She even bows and begs, making Slow's gaze turn back to her chest. Tina's friends then warn her that Slow is the pig duke. They are really very disgusted with him. Slow then asks them not to be afraid of him. He really has no hidden intentions. Slow explains that using imagination in using magic is important. How good the quality of imagination they have will determine the level of success in using the magic they want to manifest. Tina claims she has tried it because it was taught in class, but she complains because it still doesn't work. Slow suspects that her imagination is not detailed enough. They need to be as detailed as possible in using imagination. For example, the heat feeling that fire has, or the cold feeling that ice itself has. Another thing that also causes difficulty in using magic is because the spirits are not very interested in commoner descendants. Tina, who is sitting on her knees, bows her head, feeling that it's very unfair. Whether or not someone can use magic is determined by family lineage, whether from a noble family or commoner. Slow is sure they have heard many commoners who can master magic, so according to him, where they come from is not that important. The new students are silent hearing his explanation, except Tina, who says they can't do anything about their origins. Slow approaches, then kneels in front of her and says it doesn't matter. Even so, it's better not to only see from the noble descent side itself. According to him, the spirits prefer people who are genuine, compared to people who always harbor something. After Tina agrees, Slow then says goodbye and asks them to stay enthusiastic. The new students say thank you, then stare at his departure, because they can't believe that the figure who gave encouragement is Slow Denning. Slow returns to the crowd of his classmates while sighing, because he couldn't find a partner. He feels he has to try asking someone whose face is not unfamiliar. Then his gaze falls on Vision, who greets. Other friends start blocking Vision, while Slow himself doesn't know what's with this commotion. They mock Vision, who is a poor noble, and his job is to butter up the pig duke. They consider his bad action nothing more than something stupid. Vision holds their hands that pull his collar and asserts that whatever he does has nothing to do with them. Slow then starts to conclude that means offering breakfast portion and also helping him when the chair he sat on broke, all just acting. Vision only needed one day to make him trust him. Slow falls down while cursing him. They remind that Vision is buttering up the wrong person and accuse him of liking to tarnish the family name. They also laugh at him for being born as a noble, but unable to buy a special magic wand. Vision starts taking out his magic wand. In short, they tell him that it would be good if Vision could ask for allowance from that pig. Vision starts swinging the wand to prove his ability. He calls the wind and fire spirits, then asks them to answer his call and gather immediately. The two young men who mocked him start to get scared and ask him not to joke, as if Vision doesn't understand what he's doing. But Vision orders them not to be noisy, because he plans to prove if his ability to use magic is better than them who use special magic wands. The two young men immediately run to call Rokomoko-sensei, because it's very dangerous here. The commotion makes Slow wake up. He immediately wonders because the spirits look excited and gather. He suspects Vision exploded and finally went berserk. The two young men finally meet Rokomoko-sensei and tell him that Vision has gone crazy. The teacher claims he has seen it and asks what happened, then asks Vision to stop and be a bit calmer. However, Vision insists on making them understand about his honorable family history. Rokomoko also takes out his magic wand and accuses Vision of being deaf. Then he orders other students to take cover behind him. Vision calls an abundant energy flow from the sky to blow hot wind that swirls with fire. He creates a fire tornado. Slow also takes out his wand and thinks to make Vision aware. Tina, who is also behind, just stares at him without commenting. Rokomoko twirls his wand. He doesn't know the cause, but he can't pretend to be blind if there's someone swinging a magic wand with chaotic feelings. Vision must heed his words. Then a magic wall starts to be created. However, after that there's no more movement. They find Vision's body falling down and probably has run out of magic energy. Moreover, Vision's magic energy is not enough to use magic like that. Rokomoko then asks someone to take him to the school health unit. However, Slow runs closer and jumps until he sits on Vision's back. Rokomoko protests him, making Slow immediately apologize and claim to be worried about him, but suddenly slipped. He asks for Vision's support. The young man is already helpless. The two bullies earlier sigh because Vision is a bad bully target. They say it's better not to deal with him anymore. However, Slow's gaze turns to Tina, who runs far back. Tina stops beside the building wall and holds it. She repeats Rokomoko-sensei's words, who forbids using magic when feelings are chaotic. But the incident just now, according to her, is the same as this. She also remembers Slow's opinion about the spirits, who according to him prefer genuine people, compared to people who always harbor something. Since childhood, Tina has saved for magic school tuition by working and helping the family business. She studies diligently, even while working. At least, she should be able to do something. Tina then rages because someone can't use magic just because she's a commoner descendant. She doesn't know what to do. The girl kicks whatever is in front of her. She is very envious of the nobles who can easily use magic. Tina herself always swings her magic wand 10,000 times every morning and is sure they won't be able to do it. Her goal in entering magic school is to be able to use magic, as well as get social status and a palanquin, a kind of classic vehicle shaped like a litter carried by human power before there were horse carriages, adorned with jewels. Tina takes out her magic wand and walks emotionally looking for spirits. She can't choose where to be born, and she herself doesn't even like that. She knows the spirits are watching, and this is her true self. She asks them to lend power. Tina keeps muttering the word magic until her body collapses. She still shouts it. Suddenly a small creature appears in front of her, then turns into a golem, making Tina startled. She then laughs and calls it genius because she successfully used magic. She is very grateful to the earth spirit. The girl is happy as well as touched. Even though it's a bit bad, but she feels if she keeps trying hard, she will definitely be able to do it. A pig sound then makes her turn, visible Slow peeking from behind the wall. She then stammers, asking since when the young man was watching. Slow claims he didn't see anything, and still says he didn't see anything. Especially like a girl wearing a jacket who is chaotic, then cursing while trying to use magic. Tina then realizes that the young man has been watching from the beginning. She cries while covering her face because a stupid noble like Slow heard her reason for entering magic school. The young man himself can still hear Tina's mutter, but if so, he turns around and says congratulations. Tina freezes. However, once Slow chooses to run away, she shouts. The next morning, the cafeteria is filled with students taking breakfast. Vision comes to Slow's table, who is eating his portion, greets him, then sits in front of him. The chubby young man thinks Vision didn't sleep last night because he looks very lethargic and exhausted. Apparently, Vision was moved to a room on the first floor of the dormitory. He was lectured by the principal, then also given advice. He said if Vision stays on the first floor with commoners, he can save more on living costs. Slow agrees with that opinion. For him, it's indeed suitable for Vision, who is a poor little person. Vision also heard his name is tarnished now, as a poor noble who is carried away by prestige, then very quickly defeated. Slow laughs crisply and threatens to beat him again. By the way, Vision also admits that he was indeed trying to butter up at that time. But when helping him, it was really from the bottom of his heart. He wants to confirm the fact that Slow has changed, and he is sure if it's true, because the chubby young man helped him yesterday. Slow turns his face away and pretends not to understand. However, Vision knows Slow is just evading. He knows Slow is the one who made him aware when yesterday he was rampaging. Vision then remembers if in the past he was helped in the same way as that, even though maybe Slow doesn't remember it. The chubby young man chews while muttering because he indeed doesn't remember it. Vision feels finally able to meet the real Slow, namely a wind priest. Slow says the poor noble in front of him has misunderstood. However, Vision instead considers him very humble. In his assessment, Slow has indeed changed. It's really a very beautiful thing for him, to see Slow change and have him as a friend, besides his personal attendant. When asked for his opinion, Slow himself doesn't mind at all. Slow opens the door hard while shouting calling Charlotte's name, making the girl who is in the room startled. Charlotte turns around and asks about what happened, making Slow tell her to listen to the good news while holding the girl's hand, and saying that he already has a friend. Charlotte instead feels his forehead and suspects he has a fever. Even though it's a bit mean, but something sudden like that feels impossible. According to her, it must be because that person is after the Duke's money. Slow says that Charlotte is too cruel to talk like that. However, because the girl is Slow's personal attendant and the #1 person who can understand him the most, he then invites the chubby young man to the emergency health unit. Slow himself begs Charlotte to believe his words. Vision greets Slow again in the cafeteria while having breakfast. He admits he's starting to get a little used to living in a room with others after moving, even though it's new for him. However, of course, it's all thanks to Slow's help. He could have been expelled from school if Slow hadn't stopped him at that time. The chubby young man mumbles while sipping his drink. As a thank you, Vision admits he has a little information for him. He then whispers something in Slow's ear, even though it's immediately rejected outright. Vision keeps begging and says Slow just needs to sit there. The chubby young man still refuses. He has explained that doing something like that is wrong. This morning, after getting information from Vision, then Slow discusses it with Charlotte, but the girl rejects it outright and says rules are rules, they have to respect them. Slow asks Charlotte not to talk like that and begs for her help. He explains that it's no problem. Besides, it's just a school event at the festival. Even so, Charlotte still refuses and says that it's wrong. He keeps begging, because he can't do something impossible. The information itself is about a magic event that will be held this weekend, namely a magic and eating contest, along with the prizes. Behind the cathedral, there's a plaza where merchants visit every weekend to set up stalls and hold events. The magic and eating contest held this weekend is a team match consisting of 2 people, where one person is in charge of eating and the other is in charge of disrupting the food distribution for the opposing team using magic. The main prize is a bottle of a very rare beauty potion that is also in demand from village girls to nobles. That item is useless for Slow. However, what makes him interested is the second prize. The item is almost as rare as the beauty potion, and its effects are also highly sought after. The item is a slimming potion. It's very clear that there's no way Slow will miss this. But the problem is what to do to participate, because the participation requirements are limited to pairs of female and male students. Slow covers his face and insists he doesn't want to invite other girls. However, about that, Charlotte admits she doesn't know what to do and the participation requirements are limited to students. Just because Charlotte is Slow's personal attendant doesn't mean she can participate. So, Slow should find a female student according to the rules. Slow then explains that initially he tried to talk to the girls, but when he said his desire to participate in the magic and eating contest, the girls just turned away. When he mentioned the problem with the requirement of pairing between men and women, they still turned their faces away. So, he asks Charlotte to think about it again. The girl says that an invitation like that is a bit inappropriate, but Slow interrupts her by saying that it's because they all turned their faces. He considers them very mean for doing it, without hesitation. Slow keeps begging Charlotte, because the girl is his last hope. Even though she's not a student, Slow says it's no problem. Maybe Charlotte is indeed not a student, but no one will complain to a Duke Denning. So, Charlotte's own decision will still never change. Charlotte advises that Slow shouldn't keep using the Duke's name like that, because it will only harm the people around him. She also reminds about Slow who wants to change into a kind-hearted pig Duke and leave behind the evil pig Duke's habits. Slow can't answer it. Charlotte keeps convincing that the young man wants to change, because she also feels as a cheerleader that Slow really wants to change. That's the reason why she firmly supports it. Charlotte asks him not to think about small things, while she will help him find a partner. She then invites Slow to go look for her right away. The chubby young man sighs, then agrees. Slow scratches the back of his head and says he will try harder, then apologizes to Charlotte. The girl doesn't mind. She is sure, if Slow invites people in a better way, there will surely be someone who wants to help him. Slow confirms that, if so, Charlotte invites him to hurry up and go. Slow sits down in the chair resignedly, because he already guessed that it was useless. Charlotte feels that it's caused by Slow's past evil deeds. Therefore, his reputation became bad. She says they have to start trying to fix it from there. Maybe, the way is by helping others, like from commoners or servants who are working or gossiping with the girls. Slow then complains, because he can't even approach. Charlotte then shifts the topic to Slow, who has managed to become slimmer, little by little. She suggests that the young man stay enthusiastic about doing it persistently. Slow himself admits he stays enthusiastic, but the final goal is still very far. When running too much, his knees feel like they're about to break. Slow drops his face on the table with a very depressed expression. Seeing him makes Charlotte feel sorry. She then asks again if Slow really wants that prize. The young man still insists, no matter what happens. He does want it, but also wants to become a better person. After understanding, Charlotte then agrees to Slow's request just for this time. She will help as his personal attendant. Slow is shocked that Charlotte is willing to participate. However, the girl gives one condition, because doing it is an act that violates the rules. If found out, there might be punishment. Even though it's just a festival, but the possibility of punishment could be true. So, when in the magic and eating contest later, Charlotte asks for something that she whispers directly in Slow's ear. However, the young man feels her request is a bit dangerous. Charlotte turns away and says if he can't, then she can't help him either. Slow then finally agrees, because maybe there will be punishment there. Charlotte immediately welcomes it with a happy smile. Charlotte praises the festival event, which is extraordinarily crowded, especially this week. Many stalls are crowded with students. So is the girl. Her eyes immediately sparkle full of longing seeing cute accessories, but her finances this month are difficult. She then has to swallow the bitter reality. Slow calls her, making the girl quickly turn and approach her master. When walking together at the festival like this, Slow feels they look like they're on a date. Charlotte in her casual clothes is also a rare sight. The girl suggests that Slow not only change his body shape, but also his habit of making pig sounds. It must be fixed too. She herself finds it hard to distinguish between a duke's descendant or a real piglet. Slow scratches his cheek because he doesn't realize he does it very often. He even makes pig sounds again, even though Charlotte has reminded him, making him apologize again. Then, whispers are heard from behind who apparently recognize the pig duke. They remind each other to avoid, so as not to get into trouble. They also feel sorry for Charlotte who walks with him, then remind each other again not to look at him, even though Slow can hear all their words. There are also those who chat about their goal to participate in the eating contest, because they heard the news that someone more honorable than Duke Denning is also participating, namely the princess from the city of Sarkista. They are sure that way, Slow won't be able to do crazy things. Even though, they still believe the pig duke will surely do something. Slow immediately turns to the source of the voice upon hearing the word Sarkista, making those who gossip immediately recognize him. They then hurry to run away because they're afraid of being extorted, even though Slow never did that. Charlotte stares at her master full of questions about the young men's words, making Slow immediately explain that it's just a misunderstanding, because suddenly everyone gives their things to him. He then quickly pulls Charlotte's hand to go to the event location early. However, the girl still suspects, making him ask Slow to tell it in more detail. Vision as the host calls the pair with number 10 from Team Karinaheim. Initially, the winner of this competition will be asked by the audience to give the beauty potion to the Princess of Daris, who is very hard to get out of the palace. However, this plan was firmly rejected by Cardinal Maldini. Slow glances at him, because he heard that Vision is staff, but he didn't expect the young man turns out to be the host, and his broadcasting magic is also good. Slow then invites Charlotte to do everything according to the prepared plan. Of course, the girl agrees. Slow himself doubts whether this will be okay. After all, Charlotte is not a student. Next, Vision calls the participant with number 11 from Team Pig Duke Mashiro. The celebrity from school enters the arena gallantly, Slow Denning. He tells when asking about the origin of the name Mashiro from his team name, he got the answer, I have changed. Vision cheers in admiration to Slow Denning, as expected from everyone from Darius nobility. He then guides everyone to give a lively applause. However, what happens is only insults and expulsion. Charlotte calls her master with a scared look, but Slow is already used to that. The chubby young man inwardly curses them as mob characters who can only make things worse. The participants become noisy again because they want to declare their love to Princess Sarkista while giving the beauty potion, even though others chime in that it's very impossible for them who are only low nobles. Others even say that there's something wrong with the prize, because Princess Sarkista surely doesn't want the beauty potion. They are sure the princess wants the slimming potion. One of them even realizes that Slow can't hold his hunger anymore with his rumbling stomach. However, Slow is determined to win the slimming potion and make a big change. Charlotte then asks him to control himself. The last participant is called with the name Princess, an otaku crystal ball, making Slow and Charlotte also turn curiously. They are the second princess of Sarkista, who is studying at this school, and the lucky fortune teller, who is rumored that his real body is the crystal ball itself. Alicia Vladia Sarkista and Shuya Nukaran start entering the arena. Those 12 teams will compete in the magic and eating contest. Vision asks the audience about which team will get the main prize. Slow himself didn't expect to meet them in a place like this. The protagonist and main heroine from the anime Shuya Marionette. Plates fall and fly, the white flag is raised. Participant number 5 has lost. Apparently the match immediately heats up from the start of this competition. If a participant asks for the next portion, then there will be a ball immediately thrown at them. A participant then asks for an additional portion. After approved, a ball is really thrown at him, while his friend is determined not to let them lose. Another participant also asks for an additional portion. If they successfully catch the ball, food will be provided immediately. However, of course the opposing team will block it to get the ball. Even though it sounds simple, but this competition is still very extreme. Slow starts raising his hand to ask for an additional portion. His hand even successfully catches the ball. Food is immediately served. Slow understands how difficult it is to disrupt him, but this becomes too easy, and maybe the prepared strategy becomes useless if like this. First, as much as possible the participants must maintain the top position. Then, slowly lose to get the second place. Slow asks for the next portion again, while the plates on his table keep stacking. He is very enthusiastic because he can get free food portions along with the slimming potion. As the saying goes, one stroke, 2-3 islands passed. A ball is thrown back at him, making Slow startled. Apparently it's Alicia's doing who feels it's unfair because no one is targeting the Pig Duke. She knows the cowardly Darius nobles because they have no guts. Vision then exclaims because finally someone disrupts Slow, as expected from everyone, also from Princess Sarkista, really different from others. According to rumors, the majority of male participants will give the beauty potion to Alicia if they win it. He asks how about the feelings of the girls who are their partners. Alicia Vladia Sarkista is the second princess of Sarkista who is studying here and also an ally of the country of Darius. A royal girl who is popular among students with her glamorous behavior when interacting. As the main heroine of Shuya Marionette, of course her popularity is also high among fans. That's the reason Slow doesn't want to make her an enemy. Alicia asks about the situation. She grumbles saying she won't forgive Shuya if they lose, especially if lose to Slow the pig. Shuya then defends himself, because since earlier he has been eating like on thin ice. Shuya Nukaran is the protagonist from Baron Nukaran family, and also known as an emotional lucky fortune teller, but has perfect fortune-telling results. The weird rumor that says the crystal ball is the stupid fortune teller's real body is no different from the rumors that always befall Slow. Besides, everyone has seen that Alicia holds the beauty potion, so Shuya is sure he won't lose to Denning or others. However, Alicia insists because of that. She then immediately asks for an additional portion. Shuya asks for time because he hasn't finished eating yet, but his partner doesn't listen at all. Seeing their silly interaction, Slow then considers changing the strategy, because his target is to become second place. Slow then is determined not to lose. He then quickly spoons his food again. However, Charlotte's magic hits his face instead. He then immediately reprimands the girl not to disrupt. Charlotte admits she is disrupting other teams. Even when showing it, the girl disrupts her servant instead, so Slo's additional portion falls too. Charlotte still insists that it's not her doing. She then blames other teams who might disrupt her. Slo doesn't want to lose, because he's sure that the weird magic must be Charlotte's, but then starts to realize that there's an X factor here. Charlotte is very careless. Even though born in a royal family, her talent in using magic is very bad. Even though she can use magic among the noble followers, Charlotte is still forbidden to use it. Once again, when the girl swings magic, Slo's food plate is thrown to his face instead. The young man can already guess about her weird magic, but Charlotte admits she's just not used to it because it's been a long time since she used magic. The condition for Charlotte to participate is by borrowing Slo's magic wand. She promises from now on everything will be fine because her intuition is back. However, everything becomes more chaotic and the audience cheers to encourage Charlotte to make Slo lose. The girl then becomes worried seeing Slo battered. Finally, they become the center of gossip because Duke Denning makes his personal attendant use magic in this competition, even though the participation requirement is school students. They then remind each other not to talk loudly because they're shivering, feeling scared of what will happen if Slo hears it. Even though Slo already knows there will be people talking like that, but he has prepared for it. Even though it's like this, at least he will do this competition seriously. Vision finally cheers because Team Princess finally starts to catch up with extraordinary effort. Shuya, who can't stand it anymore, still raises his hand to ask for an additional portion. Alicia herself feels happy because the situation is going well. She also has a good feeling, and no doubt they will win and defeat other participants soundly. Vision announces that their speed is very extraordinary. The portion difference with Team Pig Duke Mashiro is decreasing drastically. Slo then confirms that they have reduced the portion difference that much. It seems not long they will catch up, so Slo plans to give a little help. He calls Charlotte and asks for her help to drop the magic wand under the table. Charlotte then is confused because that way she can't disrupt other teams. Slo doesn't mind because it's only for a while, besides what the girl has been disrupting is him. Charlotte then keeps denying the accusation, but still obeys Slo's request to drop her wand as naturally as possible, then complains about it. Less talk and more eat is a better way for them. So, Slo immediately goes down under the table to pick up his wand. On the other hand, Shuya immediately stops his spooning upon hearing a clinking sound like a coin falling. The young man insists there's a coin falling sound, but Alicia doesn't understand at all what he's talking about. She doesn't even hear the coin sound, even though Shuya keeps convincing her. Alicia feels Shuya just misheard, and probably it's a stone or iron chip sound. The young man still sticks to his guess, making Alicia angry again, and admits she doesn't care about it. Again, they are in the middle of competition. She orders Shuya to do it seriously. Finally, there's a quarrel between the two. Shuya, who wants to pay off his debt as soon as possible, makes him unable to miss even a penny of fallen coin. However, Alicia says now is not the right time to discuss that, besides Shuya, who broke her favorite pink vase, and it's natural to be considered as debt. Even though Shuya admits he didn't know that the vase belongs to Alicia. For him, all vases are the same. Alicia gets more annoyed with Shuya, who talks a lot, finally stuffs food into the young man's mouth. Seeing that makes Slo satisfied, because it matches his intention. He asks Charlotte to drop her wand 2 or 3 more times. The girl is annoyed because she doesn't understand making Slo have to apologize inwardly, but he still does his task. When Charlotte returns his magic wand, Slo thanks her for many things. The chubby young man keeps using the word sorry inwardly and denies Charlotte's assumption about him looking stupid. Now is the time to do his plan. He then leans back on the chair back while saying that he's full and feels he will lose. Vision then announces that Team Pig Duke Mashiro has stopped eating, then gives a chance to other teams to become the champion. Soon the match is over. Slo admits he's fine and asks Charlotte to rest soon. The girl then obeys and feels happy because it's been a long time since she used magic. Suddenly someone shouts his support to Slo and begs the young man to do his best, because victory is in sight. Instantly everyone gapes in disbelief. Vision also feels surprised with what just happened. He convinces his hearing that it's support for Slo and also a female student's voice. The audience whispers in disbelief and suspects the girl is under threat. Charlotte then asks for an explanation, but Slo admits he doesn't know anything. He feels very shocked because his master has a supporter and curious about what is targeted from Slow. The chubby young man then asks her not to be that shocked and admits that actually he doesn't want to waste the support given to him, but his target is to become second place. Slow feels very happy because there's someone supporting him. However, the other team's situation becomes more chaotic. Shuya admits defeat, even other teams follow. So Vision announces that the winner is Team Pig Duke Mashiro. Slow then curses because he becomes the champion instead. Vision presents the beauty potion for the champion. That was a very good victory, so he makes sure if the beauty potion is for Slow himself. The chubby young man of course denies it, so Vision thinks the potion must be for his personal attendant. The announcement continues to the next champion. While Slow bows weakly while descending the stage and Charlotte tries to comfort him. Seeing the beauty potion in hand, Slow then feels that it's indeed impossible to realize his wish, so he thinks to give it to Charlotte. Slowly but surely, he tries to be strong because maybe this is indeed the best. However, suddenly Alicia comes whispering something. After being silent for quite a while leaning back on the tree trunk in the forest, Slow finally reprimands Alicia, who keeps standing leaning on another tree. The girl then finally comments on Slow, who wants instant diet using slimming potion and feels that it's really a pig's mindset. Slow, who suddenly announces he wants to diet and become better. Even though only thousands of opportunities until now, Alicia feels all that is too late. Slow himself doesn't deny it. The girl changes her statement and says all that is useless anymore. All that has no meaning anymore. Slow's scope is not only at school, but also inside and outside the country of Daris. If hearing the name Duke Denning, Alicia feels everyone in Sarkista will recognize his embarrassing face, because everyone knows how evil Slow's deeds towards her. The chubby young man admits he doesn't want to see his ex-fiancée's facial expression like that. Alicia then becomes angry and insists that Slow never say that again. Slow realizes everything is like what Alicia said, he has dirted the Duke's glory name. That's a fact, and not just his reason for not being able to see the girl's face anymore. Alicia admits she will happily cry if Slow is liked by people again, even though the young man doesn't know how, especially remembering what he is like. Alicia admits she doesn't care, because that's Slow's own business. The Pig Duke then apologizes, but Alicia says no need to do that. She then invites to quickly finish their business because she doesn't want to be found out by others. Alicia takes out a box containing something Slow wants. She is willing to exchange it with the item the young man has. She then feels the item she has is more valuable than the item Slow has. She asks for a clear answer whether Slow wants it or not, while raising the wand. Slow asks her not to raise the wand like that, then reaches into his pocket and admits he will exchange it with Alicia's wand. The girl then refuses because she's still using this wand, then calls him shameless. At their academy, the magic wand will be validated for ownership. If Alicia can't keep this item well, then she who comes from the royal family doesn't deserve to be a role model for nobles. Slow then thinks that keeping something well is of course a good thing. He remembers the jewelry he once gave. When the girl's gaze turns sharp, Slow suspects she's reminiscing. However, Alicia immediately turns around and asks him not to misunderstand, even though Slow himself hasn't misunderstood anything. Alicia then turns back because angry, making the chubby young man suspect she wants to say something. She then throws the potion box that she calls disgusting and admits she doesn't need it. Slow groans because the box hits his face. Moreover, the item contains something valuable for him. He also complains because Alicia throws it carelessly. Automatically, his beauty potion is also thrown towards the girl. Alicia picks it up and reasons that Slow's exchange condition doesn't make sense, so basically their negotiation is over. Slow himself doesn't accept the negotiation whatever it is, because throwing and taking herself while rubbing his forehead. Before leaving, Alicia also informs one thing that according to her, it's very impossible for a Pig Duke to change and reminds Slow not to let himself be dumped by Charlotte. The chubby young man then picks up his box, and he gets this slimming potion safely. At least their conversation bears fruit. Moreover, they haven't talked to each other for a long time. Suddenly Charlotte, who peeks from behind the tree behind him, asks about the result, making Slow startled. The young man then approaches and immediately thanks because he successfully exchanged it. Charlotte exclaims happily hearing it. That means their strategy is very successful. All that, of course, thanks to Charlotte's help, even though she herself really didn't think Alicia would come. At that time, Charlotte saw Alicia's face that looked very disappointed. According to her, maybe Slow can invite her to talk face to face, then offer to exchange their prizes. Charlotte then looks curious whether they talked about many things. Slow agrees, even though only talking about unpleasant things. They then walk side by side. Until then, Charlotte's curiosity about the slimming potion tickles. She then asks permission to see it. Slow admits he doesn't mind showing it, but he asks the girl to be careful and don't let it fall. Charlotte immediately peeks at the box in his hand. She admits she's not that careless to be warned. However, upon seeing a caterpillar inside the bottle, she then throws the item into the air while screaming. Slow immediately runs, chasing the slimming potion until Charlotte realizes what she has done. The girl still trembles while pointing at the broken potion bottle while asking about the creature. The caterpillar-shaped creature is a fat grub, which is a rare monster. When this monster is hibernating and in suspended animation, it releases body fluid that gives lipolysis effect, and this slimming potion exists to make it easy to drink the fluid. Slow sighs tiredly because he already guessed this would happen. Hearing those words, Charlotte then feels more guilty. While covering her face, she admits she didn't know about it and apologizes. Slow says it's okay. What can be done if Charlotte doesn't know? He can't see the girl crying, so he states the possibility that the potion tastes bad, so Charlotte doesn't need to cry like that. Charlotte still cries because she knows that Slow has tried hard to get the potion, and this is all caused by her stupidity. Moreover, the caterpillar itself is a dish in the Duke's territory. Slow explains that being able to participate in the competition with Charlotte has made him happy, so that's enough for him. He also emphasizes that it's not for eating and asks Charlotte to stop crying. The girl then agrees, making Slow feel relieved. He then takes the remaining broken slimming potion bottle. Initially, the chubby young man couldn't participate in the competition, but finally being able to make memories with Charlotte is more than enough. The girl behind him then says softly, making Slow turn because he didn't hear it clearly, then asks her. Charlotte holds Slow's hand and determines to make a slimming potion for him. Slow opens the room window, seeing the bright morning atmosphere. When looking out the window, there's a view from a fantasy world. The air condition here is also clean. The fantasy world is indeed the best. He then drinks a glass of water and now, his gaze shifts to a foaming high drink on the table. He doesn't know what Charlotte mixed and why it can take this form. Since that incident, Charlotte is very enthusiastic about experimenting. He doesn't want to waste her effort, but the girl's culinary skills are very fatal. Slow has to use his survival instinct. He has to imagine when he is training in the middle of the mountain and feels hungry. Even though he already knows what this drink tastes like, but Charlotte has made this for him. As a man, he is determined to drink it. His hand quickly takes the glass and drinks it. However, when Charlotte informs that it's time for morning run, Slow's body is already sprawled, making the girl scream in surprise. Upon arriving in the forest, Slow says goodbye to Sweat. He then asks Charlotte not to forget to come back here. The girl then nods and asks him to be careful. Slow starts with stretching. Suddenly Tina comes and reprimands him, who is training secretly. She also thanks him for that time and calls him Senior the Peeper. Slow complains about that nickname. Apparently, Tina is also training to use magic and thinks no one will see her here. The girl starts mentioning her name, making Slow remember that they haven't introduced themselves yet. Even so, Slow is sure Tina must already know that he is a noble who is already famous at school. He also thanks her for her support yesterday, making Tina surprised because the young man realized it. Slow is sure with a voice that loud, he definitely won't misguess. Tina then laughs and admits she was shocked when noticed by many people because of that, and after that, she immediately ran away. Slow laughs hearing her honesty. He promises to always support her because Slow is her magic teacher. The chubby young man is the one who awakened her determination to use magic. She even didn't think that would make her shout something bad. Slow turns away and admits that he is a stupid noble, making Tina laugh. Tina says even though Slow is a noble, according to her the chubby young man is not an idiot like other nobles. Slow feels Tina deserves great respect because she dares to say that directly in front of his face. He then is curious about the situation after Tina successfully used magic, because a new student from commoner background who suddenly can use magic will surely become a popular topic. Tina confirms that she indeed became the talk, but when she told that Slow gave the hint, some people called her a liar. Even the teachers were surprised when hearing it. She couldn't believe that Slow's reputation is that bad in their eyes. Slow admits that he is the most hated person at school, even though the young man realizes it. But no matter what his reputation is like, Tina feels she still has to thank him. If so, Slow asks Tina to keep greeting even if the condition is crowded. However, Tina feels that won't give a good impression on Slow's reputation, if only a new student from commoner background greets him. Slow himself feels that's enough for him. If so, Tina determines to repay the favor, not only giving support, but she will also help him. Besides, the students from Tina's class also thank and are motivated by the advice Slow has given, even though the young man feels it's not necessary. Even though actually, Slow's intention at that time was only to talk to Tina. Then, the Earth Spirit suddenly comes to help him. He feels it's better to shut his mouth about that, because being motivated is a good thing until Slow expresses his desire. Slow keeps running because he feels really fresh when running before sunrise. Running fast also starts to feel easy without using excessive energy. He then thanks his fat and says goodbye soon. Until Charlotte calls, he immediately approaches. Lately, Slow's condition is getting better. His running distance is also getting farther, and that's even better progress. If so, Charlotte then gives her slimming potion for Slow to drink immediately. Slow thanks and drinks it with hard effort. Charlotte turns to the woman who greets them in a messy state and asks about it, making Slow immediately introduce her as a junior at school. Charlotte immediately asserts that Tina is a better woman than Alicia. Slow only sighs because Charlotte misunderstands again. The thing is, Slow is already with a woman early in the morning, even though she cried and made a fuss during the school entrance ceremony. So, Charlotte can't imagine if her master has a female friend. Slow immediately reprimands Charlotte because her response is always the same every time. Tina, who has been silent confused, keeps yawning widely. She then recognizes the woman beside Slow as his personal attendant, because she saw them participating in that competition together. Slow then introduces her as his personal attendant since childhood. Tina stares at Charlotte for a long time, then holds both her hands. She heard Slow's personal attendant is very cute, and apparently the gossip is true. After introducing herself, she also informs about her debt of gratitude to Slow because he helped in the magic matter. Charlotte thinks that Tina is Slow's friend, but the girl immediately denies it and admits she's not worthy to be called a friend. Slow himself is surprised seeing Tina, who is eloquent. Tina admits being remembered by Slow as a cute junior is more than enough, because Duke Denning is very known among nobles. Besides, she is only a child of an inn owner, so Tina feels not worthy to be called a friend. Being able to talk to Slow like this already makes her happy. Slow then realizes that Tina's character, who likes to be eloquent, is really the same as in the anime. Tina's arrival this early is to show the classic bird-shaped ornament she made using magic to Slow, even though it's very regrettable because the wing has broken. Charlotte misunderstands again because she suspects Slow has to compensate. The previous story is Slow informing that actually he wants to improve people's impression of him by dieting. It can also be called image upgrade to Tina. He also doesn't deny that the bad rumors circulating are facts, but he wants the girl to understand if he really wants to change. Tina herself assesses that Slow is not like what the rumors say. The chubby young man has tried to help others, for example by eating her cooking, which is actually not tasty. So, Tina informs that her friend, who is a servant from commoner background, is having a problem. The classic ornament she brought and has broken is owned by Headmaster Morozov, which is in the living room. That room can't be entered by just anyone, and it seems the bird ornament was already broken when Tina's friend was going to clean the room. Then unconsciously she brought it out. If imagining that the girl will be suspected, of course it will make her feel depressed. And it seems the person who broke the ornament is someone who has permission to enter and exit the living room. Now Tina wonders if Slow can fix that item. Slow then asks permission to borrow it for a moment, then starts looking at the bird ornament from various sides, and it seems there's no other damage besides the wing part. If the damage is only like this, the chubby young man feels he can still fix it. But maybe it won't be as good as the original. In this era, they rarely see items like classic bird-shaped ornaments. This is an antique item that has added value because it's made using magic. Charlotte then informs that Slow used to like making items like this for Alicia. The young man himself is surprised because his personal attendant still remembers that. Tina didn't expect that Slow has been proficient in using magic since childhood, Apparently, it's because magic is the only thing the Pig Duke has since childhood. Tina then gets more excited because she also likes handmade items like that. She wants to hear about that story further. Slow admits he doesn't mind telling. If so, he asks Tina to hold the ornament first. The girl then agrees, and the repair immediately starts. Slow starts swinging his magic wand, thus creating a wavy light surrounding the bird ornament. First, the broken part will be heated, then the two parts are glued, then quickly cooled using water magic. The process is the same as repairing metal items. Tina is very amazed seeing that very precise magic. Slow sees the girl is very serious observing the process, and suspects Tina will soon understand everything. The process is then finished. If there's a missing shard, Slow will make it with earth magic. Tina cheers because she can't see the broken trace, even though she thought the chubby young man is only expert in using wind magic, but apparently also able to use other attributes. Slow then denies and says he's not an all-rounder. Tina herself hears it like sarcasm, but she is very grateful because her friend will surely be very happy. Slow admits he's happy too if what he does is useful. Commoners who can become students at this school are not many. So, usually students and servants from commoner background help each other. Surely there are many problems they face together every day. Another time, Tina promises to do something for Slow, but the young man immediately refuses. However, because Slow is very proficient in using magic, she thinks Charlotte is also proficient in using it. The two of them are startled. What Tina caught, the noble's personal attendants have been with them since childhood. Slow thinks the girl didn't watch the competition yesterday. Tina then scratches her head because yesterday it was very crowded, so she had difficulty watching it. By the way, about Duke Denning, his military power is very extraordinary. Tina heard the training for his personal attendants is to defeat ferocious monsters. Charlotte confirms that the training is indeed very hard. Tina then gets more excited, demanding more stories for her reference. Charlotte admits the reason she doesn't bring a magic wand is because her ability is already good enough. Slow then is a bit reluctant to give support. Not only cute and becoming a follower of Duke Denning family, but also has good magic ability. Tina thinks Charlotte comes from commoner like her and makes her envious. Tina thinks so because the apron Charlotte uses has a dragon demon picture and same as the cafeteria chef's favorite. As far as she knows, usually if nobles become personal attendants, they won't help in the kitchen, but by only using that apron, it doesn't mean that Charlotte is a commoner. Charlotte then tries to explain, but Slow cuts first and orders her to quickly go back to the kitchen. Charlotte immediately agrees and says goodbye. Tina wants to hold, but Slow's personal attendant has left. Slow knows from the spirit that Charlotte comes from a royal family. When people suspect her origin, he always tries to protect, because Charlotte herself tries to cover that. Tina suspects she has said something unpleasant to hear. However, Slow makes an excuse to pity the chef if Charlotte is late to come help. His own hand is busy putting on the uniform again. He has finished sweating and feels he will go back to class. However, Tina says that actually there's still something. She remembers something when talking about the kitchen earlier. The girls cheer in amazement while observing their own hands. Their skin becomes very soft. With this, they don't need to be afraid of work related to water, even feel it's impossible to buy a secret potion like this. Tina apologizes to Slow because the head chef recently changed the dishwashing soap and made the hands of the servants who wash dishes very rough. Slow himself is also happy because the potion he brought has an effect. He asks them not to let anyone know about this potion because he doesn't have permission to create potions. The servants then shout understand. They are very grateful and admit that apparently all this time they misunderstood Slow, even say that rumors can't be trusted. Tina hugs him from behind and asks for the potion too. Slow shouts understand and says he has to go to class now. He then asks the servants to give some to Tina and will replace with more amount. Rokomoko-sensei grabs Slow's shoulder while calling him. He then screams because immediately caught. Finally, Slow follows the tall teacher's steps down the corridor weakly while explaining his reason for making the potion because the servants are having problems. However, Rokomoko admits he didn't see anything and brought him because he needs something else. The young man immediately startled. Rokomoko stops his step and turns, then says that the old man calls him. Slow feels surprised because suddenly called by the headmaster. Rokomoko immediately walks, leaving Slow while informing the headmaster's room position, which is on the top floor of the teacher's room. He also reminds his student not to get lost. He leaves because indeed his task is finished. Slow stands in his place. This is the expansion moment in Shuya Marionette that he has watched repeatedly, where the headmaster calls him and gives a task so that he grows into a savior. And Slow successfully grows after completing various unreasonable tasks given by the headmaster. The protagonist event will soon start.